Coming up on Central News tonight, National Buddy Day. Christmas lights in Hamilton is going to be big this year, and counting Kereru. Kia ora, welcome to Central News for Wednesday, the 5th of November. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Buddy Day is on Friday, the 14th of November, and aims to raise awareness about child abuse. The day has adults working together to make a difference in the lives of New Zealand children affected by child abuse, which comes in many forms. Anne-Marie spoke with Bevan Bain, General Manager at Child Matters, to find out more about the purpose of Buddy Day.
Buddy Day is a chance for all members of the community, particularly leaders, to show that it's important to them to stand up. We all look after children in our community, to help them be safe, to flourish in environments where they can reach potential, and it's a fun day.
What happens? How can they do that?
Bit of a process, an exciting process. The buddies are created, they're about 1 metre high, a corflute, and they are sent out to the schools. The schools registered to take part in creating a buddy. They give it a story, a picture you'll see here, and in some cases a voice. And through that they have some child-centred messages around what they think it takes for them to learn and be happy and to flourish. And then they're picked up by our friends at Harcourts, our buddy couriers, who corral all these corflute children now, who have names and faces and beings, and they are brought to a central place for our Buddy Day breakfast, our special breakfast for our carers on November the 14th.
And so the carers pick them up at this breakfast and take them with them for the day.
Yeah, and obviously that's an apprehensive moment for many. One, to register, to put themselves out there, and two, to participate. Breakfast, 7 o'clock in the morning, a quick breakfast with some inspirational speakers and some fun, and some hopefully leaders that they'll recognise in their communities, like the mayor, politicians, business leaders, community leaders. That shows that their leaders in the community can stand up and play a role, and so can an individual. And so they get their buddy, they get their messages. Talk about our brochure shortly, that's the ammunition of what to speak about, what we're out here for on Buddy Day, and to go out about, then it's up to them. Child Matters has done our bit. It's up to individuals to get out there with a buddy, which, as you can imagine, is kind of awkward and unusual, but so is child abuse and so is children that aren't flourishing. So this is a fun way to say, hey, I'm doing something about standing up for children in our community.
It's a conversation starter, isn't it?
Absolutely. And one of the challenges we find with this subject is it's difficult. People don't really want to talk about child abuse. Buddy Day is about talking about practical things that you can do in your community to look out for vulnerable children, to speak up if you're worried about a child, to bring some simple things into different parts of your community, into sport, into home life, into business, that can help our children flourish and be at less risk of problems as they grow up.
When we talk about child abuse or neglect, it can seem completely overwhelming and that one person can't make a difference. So what can one person do? How can one person help a child? Yeah,
it's a very familiar place to all of us to think, gosh, what can I do? Personally, from my work with Child Matters, I'm now aware that when we go camping up north as multiple families, who is the person that's going to be responsible for all the kids and all the cousins and maybe not drink alcohol that night? Who is the one person on New Year's Eve who knows what kids are in what tents? Who is the person in our community on their board of trustees that said, okay, we need to share our child protection policy with our community? Those simple things, if we all do that one or two things, it adds up to a community that's safer for children. And in our brochure here, we're really proud of our brochure this year. We actually, for the first time, stepped that out. What can I do at home, at school, at parties? When my child goes to a sleepover, fantastic, she got invited, she has friends, she's getting that social development. But do I know who else is going to be in that home? very practical things without getting paranoid and putting children, you know, in a bubble where they can't have fun and flourish. This is about really good practice.
It seems like common sense, but that brochure has some really good points to consider. And something that's quite topical is your points regarding on the sports field.
Yes, in New Zealand we're a little bit behind in international best practice on having safe and supportive environments for children in sport. And there's some practical things in here that as a person myself who loves sport and as a sports coach, how do we screen and vet our volunteers? Who do we know, what do we know about the people that are taking our children away for sports weekends? Doesn't mean everyone's dangerous. It just means also for those adults taking part and volunteering in sport that we know the rules, we know the policies, and we have a safe workplace.
What's one of the biggest challenges when it comes to raising awareness of child abuse?
People's fear of the subject, fear that maybe it's them, it's nothing to do with me. But we know that approximately 1 million people in New Zealand are either have experienced or have suffered a long-term influence of adverse childhood experiences. And that affects us through our health, through our social services providers, and in the workplace.
So sometimes it's easy to think child abuse doesn't happen in my neighbourhood, doesn't happen to people I know, doesn't happen in my backyard. But that's not the case, is it?
We need to understand what vulnerability is. We need to take some responsibility about what are the signs and symptoms of abuse or adverse childhood experience or vulnerable children, and have the courage to speak up if we have a concern. Our gut feeling's usually right. It's not dobbing someone in. It's about thinking something's not right. Am I going to walk away and leave it and see that story in the newspaper a year from now, or I'm actually either going to put my hand up and offer to help if we've got a stressed out parent, or in the supermarket, or are we going to turn a blind eye? And it takes a bit of courage, and it's uncomfortable, but if we return to some of that community behaviour maybe we used to have in New Zealand, I think we can make some change.
And that's where the buddies come in, and that's where Buddy Day comes in, to start those conversations. Take your buddy out to lunch.
That's right. Child Matters as an organisation, which is the deliverer of Buddy Day, works more with the children's workforce who work with children. Buddy Day is about their reach to all New Zealanders across our large cities, that they can all play a role and they can all get engaged. They can have fun. They can go and have lunch with their cobbers and their mates who are too scared to have a buddy that day. And maybe they'll have a buddy next year. But they can share these brochures and share the message and stand up as a leader. It's fun, and hey, if they want to do some fundraising on the way for Child Matters, that'd be great too.
So how does someone become a carer for Buddy Day?
Hey, look, all they need to do is have a look at our website, buddyday.org.nz, buddyday.org.nz. Jump on there. There's an easy way to register to be a carer. That's basically to have a buddy. We had a couple of people last year who thought they were taking a real child out for the day. Just relax, it's a Corflute buddy. And you can register there, it's free. You come to an hour or so breakfast event and you go about your normal day. And Buddy Days have been out with the Prime Minister, they've been in board meetings, they've been in workplaces, they've been on construction sites. So if anyone says they can't take their buddy out with them for the day, I think they're probably mistaken. Other things you can do, you can order some mini buddies online and have something fun with your family or your classroom or your friends. And get online and like our Facebook and our website. We'd love to have you along for the ride.
To sign up to become a carer or find out more about Buddy Day, go to buddyday.org.nz. Up next, the twinkle of Christmas lights up Hamilton. Welcome back to Central News on TV Central. A visit to the Mormon Temple Christmas light display last year inspired Hamilton City Councillor Angela O'Leary to take action to light up all of Hamilton. Anne-Marie caught up with her to find out how she's planning on doing that.
With my smile, no. So I have decided, because I'm mad on Christmas, I love Christmas, to have a Hamilton Christmas lights competition. And this is the first year that we're going to be doing it. And what we want is people to enter in their houses with whatever they decorate, because it's amazing what the lengths that people will go to decorate their houses. So what they can do this year in Hamilton is enter their house to win a prize. And hopefully we'll have lots and lots of entries so that we'll be able to be seen from space, which would be really good.
What inspired you to create this competition?
So last Christmas, as you do, you drive around Templeview, and I packed Mum up in the car and we went to Templeview and saw some lights, and we're on our way to Harrowfield, and Mum spotted a house in the distance that had lots of pretty lights on it. And so we went down there, and there wasn't just one house, but there was a whole street in Templeview that the residents had just done up and thrown Christmas everywhere, all over the front porch and stuff, and it was amazing. And then that got me thinking about what if we had more of this around the city, and imagine, a whole lot of streets, and what if we had a map and everyone knew where those streets were and where they could drive to. And
is it just individual houses, or can actually whole streets enter, such as Harrowfield or Templeview?
This year it's just individual houses, and we've got 5 different categories. So we've got quirky, traditional, of course we've got supreme, and then we've got a people's choice as well. But I think next year, depending on how this year goes, then we'd probably look at, maybe an award for a neighbourhood or a street, or depends how this year goes.
That will really facilitate community feel, won't it, if you have a whole neighbourhood or a whole street banding together to win?
Yeah, it really will. And I think one of the things that stuck out for me for Templeview was there was one street, and I don't remember the name, but there was one house who not only had they done their whole front, the whole house in lights and everything, but the people in the residents in the house came out and they were dressed in, I think there was like chipmunks and Christmas fairies, and they were actually entertaining people, and all the neighbours sort of joined in. So it's about getting to know your neighbours as well, and in a really fun way too, which is, it's good for safety and everything else, knowing your neighbours, which is a great thing.
So what's the outcome? What would you like to achieve with this competition?
I just want doing things with families is really expensive, and one of the things that I committed to at the last election was to find events and things for families to do that were free. And what's easier than creating a Christmas event that's free? So it's about building on an easy, fun thing, and making it special for the city and for the residents, and also for visitors, and hopefully bigger and bigger every year. I mean, I'd love to see in a couple of years businesses actually participating as well, and decorating their, the business properties, and who knows, we might be seen from space, I don't know.
What date do the lights need to be up by?
So the lights need to be done from the 28th of November to the 20th of December, and so that gives time for the public to go around and view. And as I said, there'll be a People's Choice Award as well, so people viewing all of these wonderful Christmas houses will have a chance to be a judge as well. So there's a good amount of time for people to, they have to have their houses lit, and for the public to go and view them.
And there's a judging day on the 4th of December as well.
Yes, and there's a very special judging Christmas bus that's going to go round, and that has myself on there, the Mayor, and some of our sponsors. And there's also a competition that we're running now. For a family of 4 to join the judging bus, they have to email Danielle, who's the editor of the Hamilton News, who is our key partner in this event, and tell them why they should join the judging bus. And there'll be some goodies on that night, and it'll be lots of fun. And mandatory dress up as Christmas fairies or whatever you want to dress up as, but that'll be a great night.
So how do people enter the competition? How do they enter their house?
So registrations are open now. All people need to do is go to the Hamilton News Facebook page or the Hamilton News website, and registrations are online. You can email the Hamilton News, or you can drop into the Hamilton News office in town, and registrations are there. Just fill in a registration form. It's got all the details there that you need to know, and you're in.
Now, you mentioned different categories. What can people win? Are there prizes or trophies?
There's no prizes this year. This has all had to come together very quickly, but we have some wonderful Christmas trophies that I think will give people boasting rights in their neighbourhood, and of course there's the supreme winner as well, and there'll be stories and we'll publicise that, and it'll be a bit of fun. But next year I'm working on some pretty good prizes for next year.
And how will people get the addresses? Will there be a Facebook page? Will it be published in the Hamilton News? How are they going to know where to go?
So people need to look out for the November the 28th centre spread in the Hamilton News. So look out for that in their letterboxes, November the 28th. And the Hamilton News will be doing a big centre spread, and that will have all of the entries in there, and it will be grouped by suburbs. So you'll be able to, get your driving map ready and sorted, give the map to Dad and give the list to Mum, because she's in charge, and you'll be able to figure out which driving route suits you best. So November the 23rd will be the big spread with all the entries in.
And what's the City of Hamilton got planned for Garden Place?
Wow, the City of Hamilton has got planned something very special for Garden Place this year for the month of December, and we're turning Garden Place into Christmas Place. Can't tell you too much else, but if you keep an eye out on the HCC website and on our Facebook page, and also on the Hamilton Christmas City Facebook page, then more details to come on that. It's going to be pretty special.
We're definitely having the big Christmas tree though, aren't we?
Definitely having the big Christmas tree, yes, and I can tell you that there's going to be a really wonderful Christmas market there, but quite a few other little goodies coming there. Lips are sealed for now.
To enter your property, go to hamiltonnewslive.co.nz/promotions. And just remember, entries close on November the 21st. Just ahead, counting Kereru. Welcome to Central News. The Great Kereru Count, a campaign by Forest and Bird, ended a few weeks ago, and the results are in, with increased numbers of the native bird being reported. Arthur Hines is one of many conservationists devoted to the recovery of the bird population. He talks with Amanda Harper.
Arthur, how do kereru numbers in Whenua-Kete compare to that of 14 years ago when you first started?
Well, 14 years ago we'd have seen 15 or 20 at times, sometimes up to 30. But now we're seeing mobs like that on a very regular basis.
Yeah. And I understand you're seeing them from your own house, I believe.
Very much so. You'll sometimes have 30 or 40 around the house. They strip mulberry trees, magnolias. My wife used to protest that possums are stripping the magnolia buds, but now it's kereru that do it.
So would you say there is a bit of a downside to having an increased number of kereru?
There is, and it's not only kereru, it's kaka as well, but I can live with that.
You can live with that?
I certainly can.
It's our native birds. Yep. Now, what is your involvement with the Kiwi Care group? How does that come into things?
Well, I'm the chairman of the group at this stage. We started in 2000, and we've been operating on about 3,500 hectares for the last 14 years, trapping.
Okay.
We've got 500 traps spread over, it's 75 kilometres of bush trap line.
Yeah.
So it is quite an extensive trapping program.
And what type of animals are you trapping?
We were targeting mustelids because, as our name implies, our Kiwi Care group, but we found that taking the predators out, every native species benefits.
Okay.
As has been shown by the kereru numbers.
Now, what else does the organisation focus on? What is the sort of main focus of Kiwi Care Group?
Well, it was just focusing mainly on getting rid of introduced predators. The possums, the mustelids, that's the ferrets, stoats and weasels. And we got a large bycatch of rats in our stoat traps. But to date we've got, I think it's about 1,380 stoats over the 14 years, so it has had quite an impact.
Wow, and you're noticing, obviously, with the increased kereru as well, you're noticing it working.
Very much so. It's all native birds have increased. And in the last 2 or 3 years, we've even got tomtits back, and I've never seen them before.
Are those a native bird?
They are, yes, a little black and white native bird, and it's brilliant to see them.
Oh, okay. Now, How would you compare, you've been a farmer, well you are a farmer, how would you compare being a farmer 25 years ago to nowadays in regards to conservation and the environment?
Yeah, there's certainly been a big change, particularly on my own case. I spent about 25 years clearing land and destroying the environment, and I like to think for the last 25 years I've repaired a lot of that damage.
Would you say that back in 25 years ago you just didn't know about the cost on the environment of like that farming has?
We certainly weren't aware of it to the extent that we are now. And it's great to see my grandchildren are far more environmentally aware than I ever was at their age.
So improving it for the future generations.
Very much so. Well, that's what actually drives us. Yeah.
Yeah. Now back to the Kiwi Care Group. Is it a voluntary organisation?
It is. We're all volunteers. And we've got quite a number that do our traps. Each trap has to be serviced every month. And we've got 15 or 20 people that are actively involved in that all year. And it's an all-year project, and it's a forever project, which means that we'll always have to trap.
And what is your personal motivation for conservation work?
Hearing a kiwi call at night, we can sometimes hear them call from home, and then seeing my grandchildren on the place enjoying it, and then seeing the native birds, the numbers increase. There's far more birds around than there ever were when I was a child the same age as my grandchildren.
Yeah. Now apart from kiriro, do you have any other favourite birds?
Well, the kiwi, obviously, that's pretty special, and we've got quite a number of bittern too, the Australasian bittern. They're extremely rare. Apparently there's about 1,000 left in New Zealand. Well, we see 3 on a pretty regular basis, so that's pretty neat too.
While kiriro are not endangered, they are still vital to the survival of our native forests and fauna. Right, now for our weather. Forecast for Thursday now. That is Central News for today. Like us on Facebook, centralnews.tv, or email us news@tvcentral.co.nz. Coming up tomorrow night's program, the state of the Waihao River, Aroha in action, and a rumble at the racecourse. Until then, I'm Hilary Entwistle. I hope you have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.